Hello. In my first video on types of essays, we discussed what an essay is, why we need to learn how to write essays, what are the different types of essays, and in particular, we discussed what are descriptive essays and how we need to write a descriptive essay. In the second part, that is in this video, we are going to just go through the other types of essays. So let's start. Definition essay. If you write a definition essay, you're actually asked to define a word or a concept. So you don't need to just give the dictionary meaning of a word, but you have to, analyze the word and probably spin a story to actually tell your reader what you think the definition of that word or that concept could be. For example, define true friendship, define true love, define honesty. Then we have the compare and contrast essays. In compare and contrast essays, you are asked to comment on or discuss the similarities and differences. So you could be asked to compare and contrast places, people, concepts, things like that. If you are only asked to compare, means you're only asked to comment on the similarities. If you're asked to contrast, then you focus on the differences. But usually you get a compare and contrast essay. Then the next one is a cause and effect essay. In a cause and effect essay, you need to know why and how something happened. Number one, the cause. And what's the effect? What resulted because of that event? So you could think about climate change. Why? How? And what's the result of climate change? Cause and effect. Then you have narrative. A narrative essay tells a story. It's basically conversational in style and relates to a personal experience. You could also say like it's kind of a short story, so a narrative. Then you have, I'll show this way, a process essay. Now, in a process essay, you describe how something is done or how a certain task is accomplished. Or you could also give step-by-step instructions. For example, how do you conduct a successful interview, a successful job interview? Or how do you, say, write an essay? So how do you write an essay? You could write an essay on that. So that's a process essay. So you describe how something is done in series. You could describe it. So that's a process essay. Then you have the argumentative essay. In an argumentative essay, as the name suggests, you argue. You persuade the reader of your opinion, right? So you have a certain opinion and you need to use persuasive language to be able to convince your reader about your opinion, right? Then you have, last but not the least, the critical essay. And a critical essay analyzes strengths, weaknesses, or the methods used to write an essay, strength or weaknesses of an essay, somebody else's story, a book that you may have read, a poem, a movie, a piece of art, music. So you analyze the strengths and the weaknesses. So you kind of criticize. You also appreciate. So you give the positive points plus the negative ones. So that's a critical essay. And then finally, the recap. No matter what type of essay it is, remember the high five. An essay has three basic parts: the introduction, the body, and the conclusion. The introduction and the conclusion comprise one paragraph each, the body at least 3 paragraphs, right? So the high five, introduction, 3 paragraphs of the body, and conclusion. Don't forget the high five. Then in an essay, try and avoid personal pronouns like I, me, us, things like that, right? And he or she as well, right? Try and use the passive as far as you can, as much as possible. You could use a few personal pronouns, but normally try and avoid it, right? In academic essays, you just can't use personal pronouns. Then remember to plan before you start writing your essay. Plan, brainstorm, think of the vocabulary that you're going to use, think of the language that you're going to use, and organize your essay, right? Your essay is an expression of what you think, what you feel, but it should be organized. So that's appealing to the reader, so that makes sense to the reader. So you need to organize it well. And also, you can see this clearly, once you finish writing your essay, review it, read it to yourself. Are you convinced? Can you make improvements? So do review your essay, all right? And of course, practice makes perfect, right? Read a lot, practice writing essays, get feedback from your teachers or from your peers, always helps. And keep practicing. Thank you very much.